Naka-video.
Kaya kinahalan sila siya, hindi sila nili, magsulat mo na ang comments ko. Pag routing na dito, na kaya sa may explore na, sulat yung mga comments, and continue to about the comments. Study? Pangalan na rin study?
Oo.
Guys, matahan na ako, guys. Mas prospect to hold this.
Okay, afternoon. So you may start your Is your advisor in there? Okay. So you may start with your presentation. Okay.
So, a blessed afternoon to each and everyone, especially to our chairperson, Engineer Rodin Jess, to the members of the panel, Engineer Stephanie Nebres, and to Engineer Robert James Medania. Blessed afternoon. We are here today to present to you our study about the concrete with polypropylene straws, PPS, and polypropylene bottles, PPB, as macrofiber reinforcement. I am Ricardo Hiraga.
I am Joseph D. Solar.
And I'm Christopher Nicolas Limag Panwa.
Together with our advisor, Engineer Sherwin Mervin Burton Lucas. Before we proceed to our discussion, let me give you a glimpse about our study. So our study entitled Concrete with Polypropylene Straws, PPS, and Polypropylene Bottles, PPB, as Macrofiber Reinforcement is a quantitative research, specifically an experimental. It aims to determine the effects of applying polypropylene straws and polypropylene bottles in our concrete slab. We categorize the effects into two properties of concrete, which is first is the physical and second is the mechanical property. Physical properties includes the density and water absorption. For the mechanical properties, it includes the flexural strength. Now, this research aims to answer these questions. So we have identified 5 problems that will be addressed in this that is addressed in this research. So first is, what are the physical properties of polypropylene plastic straws and polypropylene bottles? Next, is there a significant difference between the physical properties of PPS and PPB and the aftermarket macrofiber reinforcement, which is the bar chips? Third is, what is the flexural strength of plain concrete slab and concrete slab with PPS and PPB and aftermarket macrofiber reinforcement? Fourth, is there a significant difference in the flexural strength among the concrete slab with PPS, PPB, and aftermarket fiber reinforcement in comparison to the plain concrete slab? 5. Is there a significant difference in terms of flexural strength between the aftermarket macrosynthetic fiber reinforcement and the treated MSFR? Now, in the conduct of our study, we followed the standard mixing ratio of 1:2:4, in which it stands for 1 sack of Portland cement, 2 cubic feet of sand and 4 cubic feet of gravel. So our treatments, including our control, contains for the control, it contains a plain concrete mix with no admixture. Second is the treatment 1, concrete mix with 50 grams of polypropylene straws. Treatment 2, concrete mix with 50 grams of polypropylene bottles. Treatment 3 is concrete mix added with mix of 25 grams of PPB and 25 grams of PPS. And for the treatment 4, concrete mix with 50 grams of bar chips, which stands as the aftermarket macrosynthetic fiber reinforcement. Now, our research hypothesis. The researchers hypothesized that there is a significant difference in the physical properties of concrete when mixed with polypropylene fiber reinforcement in terms of density, water absorption among all treatments and control. Second is the researchers also hypothesized that there is a significant difference in the flexural strength of the synthetic fiber reinforced concrete slab among treatments and control. So as we conduct our study, we followed our methodology, which is stated in our manuscript, page 20 to 30, the flow of how we will conduct this study. First is the procurement of our raw materials. We started with procuring our raw materials that will be used to manufacture our beam molds. Our beam molds has a dimension of 6 by 6 by 21 inches as prescribed by ASTM C78. We also fabricated our physical property molder, which has a dimension of 2 by 3 by 4 inches, which is used to obtain the physical properties of concrete. Next is the production of fiber strips. We produce our fiber strips manually as following the 48 to 60 mm by 5 mm dimension. These dimensions were followed by the Bar Chips Incorporated, so we followed their dimensions to our study. So these materials are coming from the polypropylene straws and polypropylene bottles. Next is after we cutted those strips, we weigh them each so that we can separate them into bags with specified weight for each treatment. Next is we prepared our curing area, in which we manually made our curing area for this study. Next is we procured our raw materials for the mixing. So after all procurement of materials and preparation of our molders, we started the production and casting of our samples. So we also started with casting and included our the mixing of fiber strips as we cast our samples. So this is simultaneous casting of beam samples and also our physical samples for the physical property. So after 24 hours of stored in a dark and shady room, the samples are now ready and they have been categorized which corresponds to their treatment and to the number of days it will be cured. So after all the samples are ready, we have cured them for 7 and 14 days as prescribed also by the C78 method of the ASTM. After the 14th day, we conducted the flexural strength at the DPWH Cotabato 2nd District Engineering Office, particularly at the Quality Assurance section, in which this is the area where we gathered our data in flexural testing. We also prepared our physical property samples, in which all samples are submerged in water for 24 hours. Then after, we recorded its saturated weight. So after recording its saturated weight, we put them in the oven so that after 24 hours, we added a 2 hour of cooling so that after 2 hours, after a total of 26 hours, we can now get the actual weight of the dry weight of each sample. Then we obtain the density and the water absorption. Then all the data was been recorded.
So now, let me present to you the statistical data that we have collected and analyzed. So let's proceed to the graph. So this graph shows the mean averages of the treatment samples and the control. So, in order to determine the significance, we use a one-way ANOVA, one-way analysis of variance test to determine the statistical difference of each specimen. So now let's proceed to the table. So this table shows the result for these 7 days. And as you can see at the p-value column, it has a less than 0.05 alpha level, which means that we can reject the null hypothesis and accept the alternative hypothesis, which means that they have a significant difference. And now, let's proceed to the analysis of variance for 14 days. And now, as you can see at the p-value column, it also has a 0.05 alpha level, which means it has the same result with the 7 days, that we can reject the null hypothesis and accept the alternative hypothesis, which means that each specimens have significant differences. And now, therefore, we the researchers, and after the one-way ANOVA had been concluded, we the researchers used a post hoc analysis using this significant difference test to further determine which specimens are significant from each other. And now, as you can see in this table 9, this result is for 7 days. And as you can see at the mean difference, there are significant differences, particularly at the control, which is the highest compared to the treatment 1 and treatment 2. So this means that between control and treatment 1 and treatment 2 appear to be the most negligible impact. And so, however, to assess these results, according to Wang 2021, the effectiveness of the fiber enforcement vary depending on the curing conditions and design mix. So now, let's proceed to the post-hoc analysis for the 14 days. And now, as you can see, it has the same result with the 7 days, that the control has the highest mean difference compared to the treatment 1 and treatment 2. So with this, it suggests that the control has the highest flexural strength compared to other treatments. However, these treatments has a positive impact, as according to Personnel 2018, the inclusion of short polymer fiber reinforcements are the key properties that improve the cracking resistance that can withstand a stretching force without deforming permanently. And so now, let's proceed to the physical properties test results. So this graph shows the physical properties of the water absorption and density. So now, we use the same statistical test, the one-way analysis of variance. And as you can see here, the p-value is greater than 0.05. And now we can accept the null hypothesis, and which means that there is no significant differences in each specimen. And this means that these treatments are closer to that of control. And now next.
And for the study summary, first on the mechanical properties. The results indicate that none of the treatments met the requirements by ASTM C78 for flexural strength when used with polypropylene plastic bottles and polypropylene plastic straws. The control has the highest flexural strength among the samples. However, treatment 2 seems to have the least impact on the results, presumably because of the mechanical properties of polypropylene plastic bottles. Next is the physical properties. Also, the control treatment is the densest among the sample and has the least water absorption, while the treatment 2 has the highest water absorption and has the least density. As in comparing the control to the treatments, as to the result of the water absorption and density, treatments 1, 3, and 4 are the most similar to the control. As a result, with the usage of polypropylene plastic bottles, it does not offer the same level of strength as the other treatments. And next is the conclusion. Based on the study's findings, we as researchers made up to the conclusion that with using macrosynthetic fiber reinforcement made with polypropylene plastic straws and polypropylene plastic bottles, it adds significantly lowers the flexural strength, increases the water absorption, and decreases the density. We have also concluded with the inclusion of PPB and PPS, it gives supplementary cracking control and extends the time for the concrete to totally separate. And next is the recommendations. The concrete with macrofiber reinforcement can only be used for slab and grade. Any type of slab that does not receive heavy tensile stresses. Next, the fiber reinforcement strips should be divided into shorter strips. This is for the concrete to have a better grip, and this will give the strips more space to occupy. Next, for a more precise mixing, various mixing ratios, equipment such as concrete mixer, and material testing may be taken into consideration. This is to ensure uniformity, and it also advised that the mixed proportions for 7 and 14 days should be done at once. And last, alternative macrofiber reinforcement materials should be taken into consideration.
Before we proceed to the questions, we would like to show you some clips of how we conducted this study as the finale of our presentation.
Perfect ang buhos na to nila mga first.
Alas dos na lang, ma'am. Alas dos na lang sa kadlawon, ma'am. Anay, grease, sir. Ay ka ng grease. Anay, graso. Dali siya ng
Ayan na lang mga ito nila. Happy birthdays.
So that ends our presentation. Good afternoon, and we will now accept questions from the panel.
Steph, let's start with you. Comments, reactions, questions.
Ang inyong study is mag-isa ko ang PPS. Medyo recommendations na yung mga especially sa iyong conclusion ng recommendation. Very detailed ang inyong conclusion ng recommendation, which is to discuss all about the results of your structural and compressive strength, which is kung asa po siya gamiton sa basic ng result. Ito lang, nag-mention ko ng size sa inyong frames.
Yes, ma'am. 48 to 60 mm by
48 to 60
5.
So you recommended that to be used also in your
Okay.
also, pwede na ko i-clarify ulit kung sa inyong mixture mo
Yes, ma'am.
So, bali, ang inyong restricted only is 5 ka buo.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, ang inyong result, based sa inyong result, ang recommended nyo dira sa inyong mixture is ang sa inyong recommended bar chips ba? Ako.
Kasi yung 5 bar chips yung lutan.
Verify rin ako kasi ano ako pag-verify sa inyo. Yun yung recommendation.
Recommendation po.
Ay, recommendation kung other materials.
Kasi yung mga results mismo, kapag yung mga recommended na kaning PPS o PEP. Sa inyo
Ano po?
sa inyo regarding sa inyo ang conclusion na ang best sa inyo ang lima, ang ma-recommend ninyo is the PPS and PPP. Bali, ano ba sila yung sa experimental?
Yes.
So, based sa inyong gagawin upat na lang kayo. So, sa upat, ang inyo ang i-recommend is nasa ganito.
Elementary.
So, kapag
The mix.
the mixture of PPS and PPD. Pero na-discuss mo itong macro fiber na mas
That is-
lugay siya.
Yes, ma'am. The recommendation is to shorten the strips, ma'am, pero the same material lang po. Bali, ang length po ang bawasan natin sa
So,
aming
hindi nyo
recommendation.
hindi ko anas
Wala siya stretch. Wala siya, dili siya stress, ma'am. Pero, like, actual na i-cut lang din siya. Kaya if i-stretch siya, ma'am, maging ano siya, wiggly na siya.
siguro ang comment is first ulit ko lang na siya first.
Second.
Siguro kakalaman ako sa conclusion ako sa recommendation ko sa inyo kapag other else nakalaman ako sa offer and among
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so same with the other groups, I'll start with the statement of the founder. They have to format how.
What are the physical properties?
What are physical properties?
Sir, the physical properties includes the density and water absorption of the contents.
So is that what you are really asking on your first statement?
Yes, sir. We want to know, sir, whether what are the physical properties of the concrete added with the polypropylene straws and bottles in our study.
So, kung this in statement number 1 is, kamo naman po yung ito na yung without even, wala. Kasi when you talk about the statement of the problem, usually ang results would answer your question. Kaya lang, what you did is, you identified first kung sa mga physical properties and measured those physical properties, right?
Sir, the one that we are referring to this, what are the physical properties is the data itself.
Yeah, so
What are the
I
different
think
data,
the
sir,
manner
in
of
this example, sir?
stating the question is wrong. Kasi you're implying in here na nagpapamukha ang what are the physical properties of PS and PPB. Where in fact, you're asking for the value of their density and the value of their sa ganit.
Water absorption.
Not what are those physical properties. Kung may physical properties na, yung length, weight,
Yes.
Kaya ay possible physical properties. Kato lang, no? is in the manner of I get from your one. It's in the manner. And then number 2, okay. Okay. Okay naman siya kung ba. And then yung statement 5,
Yes.
so yung ibig sabihin ng aftermarket
Sir, the aftermarket, sir, is the bar chips. The bar chips po, it is a engineered strip, sir.
So ibig sabihin yung mga mga visible ang budget.
Yes, sir. We have the treatment for, sir, which is concrete mix added with 50 grams of bar chips, which refers to as the aftermarket microfiber reinforced.
So kung yung treated MSFR, it is
That is the treatment materials.
So there's a separate question for the two. Kasi, okay. Lectural strength. Among the focus stuff is
If you're
Sagot niyo sa SOP number 3. What do you mean by SOP number 3? What are you trying to, kung saan yung ikuha ka ng lectural strength?
all treatments po,
Okay, what about the number? So,
we did not include the mix po. We unfortunately did not include was not included in the question number 3, supposed to be the mix in PPS and PPP.
Kasi different siya sa SOP 4 o SOP 5.
SOP 3 ma'am is we want to get all the flexural strength data of the treatments, and then for the number 4 is we want to compare we want to compare all the treatments to the plain concrete slab which serves as our control.
Okay, what about number 5?
Number 5 ma'am is between the aftermarket, which is the bar chips, because it is already engineered, and the one that is our product po, which is the BPS and PPP strips, the one that we produce.
So what I understand is that you have 2 stages of statistical data analysis. First is that you identify sa ninyo among your treatments kung unsa yung taog. After ato, after taog, inyo ang i-compare sa aftermarket. Is that what it is? Okay, sige. Sige, sir. Ayos na namin
kita
na.
ka sa mga results. Diba ka mo ng comparison?
Ang isa lang,
Isa lang.
because the data shows sir na the control really works, so
So ang 5, yung one in your own discussion.
wala.
Wala na.
So wala na SOP, wala na kumbaga yung SOP 5.
Wala yung results.
Sir. Bali, ang results na lang among sir, ang results na lang among bali ipakita sir na the results shows itself na kanang dili man gyud ka siya mag-convert sir. So ang control na among ipakita na results sir. So na results of the flexural strength of the bar chips and also the treated. That is why
Is there a significant difference between the atong mga
yes sir.
So dito ba?
Sir, yes sir. Nandito sa among po. So analysis sir. Post analysis.
Okay, so walk us through that. Among sa inyong ang treatment, balik sa isa na, wala na kung ano, para tanda naman natin na.
We will proceed to the results po. The graphs.
Ate ka, para ano, ganun din namin dapat makita. Walk us through para din namin mabasa. Halimbawa, pinagbubuan ko. Among sa inyong ang treatment, treatment 1, 2, 3. Kung saan yung tao? Treatment 1, treatment 2, treatment 3.
In terms of what po? Flexural or the
Flexural. Let's focus to the flexural.
control po. Control.
Control.
The one with plain concrete mix.
Okay. Treatment control and the bar chips. Kung saan yung tao?
Control po. The reason, ma'am, the reason why the control governs is that we did not experimentally conduct a percentage. We specified the amount, the weight, which is 50 grams of bar chips only, which we concluded that it is not enough to surpass the flexural strength of a control sample. That is why the control still governs. 50 grams is not enough to surpass the control mixing ratio, the mixing ratio of the control sample.
Okay. Now, sa imo na, murag may gawas nga control versus for other treatments.
Wala yung kasi before.
Hindi mo siya po, sir.
But
Agihan mo na, kung sa significance sa ningkulo versus kaning. Kaniyang first
Ano
round.
yung 4, di ba?
yes,
Tapos naman, sa kung sa ning daog ani niya, in which case, ang control, i-compare na po ninyo siya balik dire.
yes, ma'am. That is why we showed that treatment 2 has the highest among all the treated. No? We specified that it is treated. So, bar chips is included on the treated sample.
Okay, if that is the case, then we will reduce your SOP to 4 na. Tama ba, sir?
So, kaya saan ang mag-ano?
That is why the answer for the question number 5 is that treatment 2 governs among all the treated. We specified that there in our presentation that the treated samples in which bar chips is also included in the treated samples. That is our answer for the question number 5.
Okay. Because if that's the case, my suggestion is that we will just total, isa para isang discussion na lang, we will reduce your SOP to 4.
Yes, okay.
And we will consider the bar chips as another treatment. Ano na lang ta? Right? Mag-lagi ako yung daw sa tumila ko pa.
Actually, in a sense, kung basta ko ng paper, it would look like treatment number 4 is one of these standards. Kasi yung about is the premium material na expected to have good qualities number.
But that is why, sir, as what we have found out that it should have a percentage, not a specified weight only.
Kasi yung recommendation.
Yes, sir.
Mix na pwede hapon sila sa bar chips, di ba?
Yes, ma'am. That is why it is part of the treatment po. It is a separate treatment 4, which is a sample with bar chips only, 50 grams of bar chips only. However, the results showed that 50 grams is not enough to surpass the flexural strength of one that is not mixed with or does not have mixture of any synthetic fiber reinforcement. That is why the control still will be given.
In your related studies, they identified an high mention of bar chips. Is there any mention of the ratio of the amount of bar chips?
Actually, sir, in the sample, sir, there are no results, sir, na specified, sir, because in the actual construction, they use metric bags. So that is why we cannot we cannot convert it into what is really in terms of weight, specified weight. So we want to, in our study, we want to specify the weight only. That is why we just decided that in our experiment, we will use 50 grams as the uniform weight for each treatment.
Pero wala siya sa product specification. Mga na mga ready-made na na ay bar chips.
Bag siya, ma'am. Butang siya.
So, as to product specification, product description, wala po sila, mawag sila ang quantity sa kanila.
Specified lang po ang length to what is applied on a certain part of a construction job. Whether it's in 48, 60, 64. So in our study, we use the 48 to 60 so that it is suitable for the slab or grade part of the construction job.
I think dito sa other of lighting, medyo confusing ang different terms na ginagamit nila. When you talk about aftermarket, and then
Then purchase.
well, mga kababasa, I have no idea what they mean by aftermarket. discussed today, and then you talk about aftermarket products. So if there is part, usually we can see na
Specify na lang sir to chips na lang directly.
parang masakyan. Okay. And then, okay. Tapos just a suggestion also. Since in yung sequence of consideration of the property, you know, sa mga physical properties, and then mechanical properties, ayaw siguro natin yung results na kung ano yung physical properties. E ganyan, happy ko kung nag-conclude, wala sila ng physical properties.
Parehas na yan, no?
Hindi ka na kailangan din sa likod. Pero sa inyo SOP, ako na dyan. Dahil lang. Lastly, sa inyong recommendations, the matter of writing is one of the things ko rin mo sa New York. Like, when you mentioned, lastly, if you intend to use microfiber reinforcement, you should weigh the benefits of that. This is recommendations, but ang manner should be the components, recommend to blah, 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 blah. It's in the manner of writing.
Walang second person, is the switch na wala yung walay ay.
Yes.
Si Eugene ang nagawa niya. Ikaw, Dr. Eugene.
Okay, sa inyong mga conclusion, ito na ang the objectives ng what? Let's show your objectives.
Yes sir, wala po sa presentation. Discuss na.
You mentioned you want to identify the physical properties of PPS and PPB in order to evaluate if it may be utilized as an alternative to the fiber reinforcement in concrete status. Okay? Question lang ako ay kung nababasa pa ng video. Did you mention that in the conclusion? Did you make that purpose na rin evaluate? By your objectives, you mentioned that your purpose is evaluating the PPD other than in fiber. So, any conclusions on the concluded in any evaluation? Did you mention that? Another recommendation? You mentioned that. Then, you can also say it's not recommended for use. Based on our findings, it's not recommended for use. Kung nakita ang mudo is, and I'm not sure if it is correct, pero I think talaga mabuti kung mention to the other results. For example, the inclusion of BPS BPB as a fiber gives the metallic wrapping control that extends time and then it takes for the coating to settle. How about the result to
Because talking to another way of listening, so
although I read kanina sa one of the papers na your study, you have to Okay? So, kaya, ito medyo para po, should be included in this topic of the projects. And then, napunta mo doon sa study, we're only concerned with the tools, BPS, when you have in your testing, you definitely included the chips.
Instruction nyo, if you are to determine that, what are the tests that you did to determine the physical and mechanical properties? So it's a good. Okay, and you are determining that kung naana siya dito sa inyong lahat. Tama? Dili siya as an ingredient pa. When he said that the lecturer spent, this is a literature state conclusion is not covered, significantly lowers the lecturer spend, increase water absorption, and decrease its density. Maraming conclusion. Kani siya, before siya mag-bring ng conclusion, hindi mo wala siya makakita din sa mga discussion. Ang iyong discussion, dapat matulog na siya sa mga karakter. Kung mautanong ka, bakit? Nagbaba ang iyong lecturer spend. What's the reason? That's how you should learn from your research. Bakit siya nagbaba? Ano yung factors that affected it? You read. Because we do not read or we do not do research based on the results only. We connect that to our theory. Bakit siya nagbaba ang lecturer spend? Bakit? Based on your ano? Ano yung baba ang lecturer spend? Ano yung nakapag-contribute mo? Ano yung mixing?
The materials that are added to certain the raw materials of the gravel, sand, cement,
Okay.
but we really suspected because
Bakit? Ano kaya sa gravel?
the gravel was not like escape from the fire.
So you are suspecting an error. What about in theory? Lower lecturer spend. Nag-add na galing mo ko plastic straws and bottles. Pero nagbaba ang iyong lecturer spend. Bakit? And supposedly, una-una, nag-theorize mo na butangan din ng English siya o plastic bottles because it's plastic. Elastic siya, diba? Diba mo na yung idea tama ko? Na mag-increase ang prior to the research, kung ang lecturer na yung ipakita, kung you have this initial theory in mind that possible na mo strengthen siya or dako niya epekto sa lecturer. Kasi if this is your pang-high plastic din na, pag-bend ka na niya, possible na mabunit ang plastic. Diba? Tama ang theory mo na yung theory. Pero, wala niya di patunayan. Bakit? Unsay na sa material. So you have there's a properties din na ninyo tubo ng it could be. Ang inyong plastic bottle din siya correlated. Mainstream mo, at walay adhesive na nalasin na ng adhesive properties sa inyong mga simento. Smooth na no yung pag-crack sa simento. Wala na ninyo yung plastic. That's one. So that's one theory na mo na siya tubo Ingat naman. Ano sabihin mo? So far, wala naman mag-down.
Ano na yun? Okay na yun. Yeah, very good.
Ang naganda ko na pag managawa mo, ang mga ano mo,
Kasi mga to sa kontak.
i-prioritize.
Please naman.
Sige. Kasi na kayo ng ano? Sir? Yung mag-deliberate sa amin? Sir? Yeah? I don't want to ask you na, sir. Yes, dapat na-answer.
Ay, kami ganun. Oo, ano na kami naminag.
Sabi mo, tawagin si Sir Lucas pag ano, niya, pangayro ko sa inyo, sir. Sorry kayo, sir.
Sir, no.
Alam nila na wrong.
Nag-burn out.